Good morning, everybody. Good morning, teacher. I am Debbie Davis, and I'm really excited about this education seminar series. This particular section, we're going to talk about networking, effective networking. And do you need to be an effective networker? I think so, because your time networking is very valuable. It's just as valuable as your income from your business. So not having effective networking and not doing it properly, it could be a big detriment. So your instructor today is Bev Hendricks, my hero. She's the leader of the North Phoenix chapter. She is a mother, grandmother of 4, and yes, a great-grandmother of 2. I have you beat. I have 4 great-grandchildren. As of today, she's been married 56 years.
Wow.
To the same guy. I know. Beth's background, she is involved in typical mom volunteer jobs: room mother, the PTA chairperson, the scout leader, chairman of fundraising for a women's Bible study. As you can see, Bev has spent her life volunteering and taking care of other people. Her work history is varied, but it always seems to involve sales. She didn't work full-time until her daughter was in high school. And at that time, with the encouragement of her husband and daughter, she accepted a full-time management position with a national advertising company. This was a huge change for her, very difficult experience. Now she packed a bag, went to the airport, was off for hiring and training when she had been used to being a stay-at-home mom. Her sales territory was expected to bill $1.5 million each year. But after being on the road for 10 years, she retired for a short time before her journey continues. I like that little segue. When she bought a print shop with her daughter. People that know Bev soon realized she doesn't do anything part way. Can I get an amen on that?
Yes.
Part-time, yes, but not part-way. She expects perfection from herself and is willing to do whatever it takes. She said that she has never sold anything or belonged to any organization she doesn't believe in 100%. So that's kudos for us, because I believe that she believes in GPS. She is a strong advocate of GPS and the program it offers to the members. Her dedication to the Roadmaps to Success series is an example of her belief in continually learning and growing, and she believes you can do anything if you have a heart for it. She says her greatest pleasure is seeing someone reach for their dreams and achieve them. And the hardest thing she had to learn, you can want success for someone more than they want it for themselves. And that's really difficult. So with that, I will turn the time over to our wonderful Bev Hendricks.
Thanks, Debbie.
You're very welcome.
I am excited to be part of the GPS educational series. As most of you though know, Debbie. As most of you know, Debbie is the founder and CEO in the GPS. And you know, I find her amazing. And she not only has a heart and understanding of young women, but she understands us oldsters just about as well. And I do serve as the leader of the North Phoenix chapter, and it is an honor to speak on today's topic, effective networking. Or as I would say, how to be more effective when you're doing your networking. There are a lot of talented and really creative women in GPS. And today I'd like to introduce one of those ladies, Pam Heward of Box Free Minds. Pam, would you mind just standing just for a second so everybody sees you? Normally, Pam is teaching women how to become empowered and achieve professional as well as financial success. But today, she's acting as Chief of Operations, is the title I gave her.
Kind of scary thought.
Actually, I think that what happened was she found out how dangerous I am with a computer, and she's here to protect the innocent. Everyone should have a handout that looks kind of like this. And did everyone get one?
Yes.
Just feel free to make your notes on it, jot down questions that you'd like to remember to ask. And trust me, writing down those questions will help you to keep from having senior moments And should you think of something later on, my phone number is right there on the front, and don't hesitate to give me a call. You know, I think there's something that I'm going to clear up before we get started. Over the years, I have noted that there is a question that women like to ask other women, but they're always too embarrassed to ask or too polite to ask. So they sit there during a class or a seminar, and their minds begin to wander around. So I think I'm just going to get it over with. I am 73 years old. And I think while I'm at it, I'm going to share with you just a couple of little things that I have discovered about getting older or aging. The first thing is, you don't get to practice for it. It's kind of like cheap pantyhose. It just kind of creeps up in there. And guess what? This is the very first time that I've been old. Oh, there were signs of it. But to be very honest with you, I've ignored most of them. And then there's always those folks that think they're going to comfort you or encourage you, and they say little things like, age is just a number. Oh, and the one I love the best, age is just in your mind. Well, I can tell you it's in a lot of other places too.
Amen.
For sure.
Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's get serious about this and talk about effective networking. As Debbie said, my work has varied, but it always seemed to have sales involved of some sort. And I have had the true opportunity to work with people on a volunteer basis, as well as in charge of companies or businesses or owners that I truly had a total respect for. And I have had the privilege of not having to do anything that I didn't really believe in or couldn't put my whole self in, and that's partly due to my husband's support. A lot of women have done things without that support, but I just happen to be fortunate and blessed that I've always had someone to encourage me. The Journey Continues is an educational series that's sponsored and produced by GPS for its members. The sessions are informal. And I hope that of value to you, and I hope that value to that you find it for your business. But as we get started, I would like to have everyone in the audience introduce themselves and just include your chapter name and your goal or your reason for networking. I thought that might be kind of interesting. And Pam, if you don't mind, we're going to start with you.
Sure. Well, currently I am I'm a member of the GPS Scottsdale chapter, but May 13th I am starting my own chapter in the East Valley. I have two wonderful co-leaders, and I expect all of these faces at my launch meeting May the 13th, just so you know.
Or else.
Or else.
And your reason for networking?
Oh, sorry. I mean, my business is all about people and connecting people with others, and people like to do business with people they like. And the best way to form those relationships is through networking. So I believe in it 100%.
My name is Gloria Myers, and I'm with the North Phoenix chapter, and Beth's chapter, and I have I do networking because in my business I like to be able to help as many people as I can, and in order for get out there and show the service, then I like to network. And not only that, but I get to meet more people and get more friendships. And to me, friendships is everything.
Okay, Bonnie?
I'm Bonnie Moore, and I am also in Bev's North Phoenix chapter and leader of Glendale Evening chapter and interim leader of the Northwest chapter. And I love GPS because it is an awesome method of networking, because you get to meet so many different women in different lines of work. And with my business, that's exactly what I need, is I need to meet everyone in all different areas. Because mine is a service type business. And you're not much service if you're not meeting the people that you can serve. So that is my reason for networking.
Debbie?
Let me think. I think that the thing that I like the most about GPS is it has so become a part of who I am as a person, because I was able to push through my fears and follow my passion and go the bumpy road and make this happen for so many women. And I think the best thing I like about it, the one thing I like about it more than anything, about my business and about GPS and what it's brought to my life, is seeing something that you had a heart for and a passion for, and see the women that it drew to you and in your circle, and see them grow and blossom and become not only people that you're with in the organization, but people that you care about, people that are part of in your heart now, that you just can't imagine waking up a day and not seeing them. I think that is what this all means to me.
Rhonda?
I'm Rhonda Collette, and I'm a member of Glendale 1 and Glendale 2, and I am the leader of the Sun City chapter. And networking has been really interesting. I never did that before the job I have right now. I work for a small privately owned company who does no advertising. So it's all face-to-face and referral-based business. So once you've performed your service for your friends and family, what do you do? Mm-hmm. And I've been in some other groups right before GPS, but the relationships that I've formed, I get a great deal of satisfaction out of being able to help other members as well as promote my own business. And the core values of GPS I just love, because we help each other. We are a resource for everyone else in the whole organization, and that's so satisfying. I found a lot of really great personal growth from that experience. All my new friends.
And Linda, you're fairly new to our group.
Yes, my name's Linda Stone, and I'm a member of the North Phoenix chapter right now, and looking at maybe becoming a member of one or two more. And I was invited by Gloria, and just knowing what a wonderful, warm person she is, I was interested in joining, because my financial background that I came from, I actually worked in a call center where I worked with people out of state. I also, all of my family is back in the Midwest. I have no family here, so
we're your new family.
so I actually, so now that I have an independent business owner and helping people with their finances and want to get out there and help people, I need to network and find a way to reach the people so that I can help them.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
Happy to have you.
When Pam and Debbie first approached me to do a session on effective networking, to tell you the truth, I was a little concerned. I knew I wasn't up on the latest social media, and you know what? I really didn't want to be. So what I've learned, though, is even though the tools that we use for networking will undoubtedly change, they have in the past, and they're going to change again, the core principles of networking remain the same, and they will remain the same. So the presentation that I'm going to be doing today is going to be focusing on those core principles. Yes, I have had a lot of work experience. You can do that in 73 years. However, nothing that I've ever done in my entire working career equaled buying a repossessed print shop. Oh, I was prepared to work the long hours. That didn't bother me. And I was actually looking forward to the challenge of learning something new. And being able to work with my daughter was going to be a real bonus, I thought. There's challenges in that, by the way. And like a lot of other folks, I thought it'd be fun to be a business owner. It never occurred to me that I might be getting in over my head. I never gave that a thought. That is until the first day of business ended. Not one person walked through the door that day, and I think the only phone call was a wrong number. It was obvious that we had to do something, and very quickly, or we were going to be a business failure and just another statistic. So the challenges we faced were these. How could we overcome a bad image, a poor reputation, and very honestly, no customers, and still become financially successful? We didn't have a formal plan, didn't have a name for it, but we set up to build a business on the three things that we felt that businesses should be based on. The first was friendship. The second was trust. And the third was loyalty. I recently read that 14 new words is added. I recently read that 14 new words are added to the language on a daily basis, and the list just gets longer each day. I'm not sure when the word networking was added to the vocabulary, but I can tell you as a matter of fact that in 1980 it wasn't a word that I was familiar with. Now I know what some of you in the audience are going to be thinking. You know, you're thinking, I wasn't even born in 1980, or some of you say, I was a mere child. Well, good for you, you know. That's okay. You know, enjoy your youth while you can. Does anyone here remember, or we admit to remember looking up a word in a dictionary?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh, good, good. Because now we Google. I even Google. And Google had this to say: networking is a supportive system of sharing information and services among individuals and groups having a common interest. Now, I don't know about you, but I find that just a little overwhelming. So here's my definition. Networking is simply getting to know each other, creating friendship, building trust, and developing loyalty and referrals. That's networking. But let's take a look at the benefits of networking. Networking actually can be a great way to build a business. Business strategies and tactics have really changed over the past decade, and they'll continue to change. But an example, business strategies have changed dramatically, as I said, but you used to do cold calling, where you'd go in and you'd meet the people and you'd talk to them right then and there, or to make an appointment to see them. Well, I can tell you that if you aren't known now, you probably will never get past that front desk. Phone calls, no, they're obsolete as well. And emailing, you know what, they're handled just like you and I do at home. Delete, delete, delete. Or it goes into the spammer file. They don't even look at them. So you have to do something totally different. Today's successful business is going to be contingent upon building trusted relationships and then using those relationships to meet new prospects. Relationships, ladies, they take time to develop, but they're going to be vital if you are going to nurture and grow your business. Another appealing thing about networking is the minimal cost that's involved. Example, GPS dues, $4 a month, basically nothing. And networking groups offer an amazing amount of benefits, including support and encouragement. Personally, I'm impressed with all the benefits of GPS. I always have been, and about the time I think it can't get any better, they announce a new program or introduce a new program that they're going to have, and usually it's free. So audience, this next question, we're going to come to you, and we're going to ask you about it. What do you actually expect from networking? What are you thinking you expect? Gloria, we'll start with you.
Well, I expect probably increase my, let's see, I probably learned how to approach people and how to present myself, because a lot of times it's hard to just walk up to a person and on cold cuts and just say, you know, how are you, which I do a lot of that. I'd be in line at the grocery store and get a conversation going, and I just bring up a compliment somebody, and then you start a conversation. But I think when you network with in a group, it's a lot easier because there's so many more people there that you can actually you don't feel out of place to go and approach someone, or because we're all there for the same thing, trying to meet each other or meet more people. And to me, that's what I expect, I guess, to be more out there, put my face out there more, and
Okay. Bonnie, what do you expect out of networking?
I guess what I expect out of networking is, number one, developing friendships and relationships. Because to get a referral from someone who does not know you or does not, and that you do not know, is basically a cold call. But with networking, and especially like in the area with GPS, you get to develop friendships and relationships. So in turn, the networking becomes referring a friend or getting a referral from a friend and putting some faith and trust into that referral or into the person that you are referring. To me, networking, if I want to do cold calls, I can sit at home and do that, and I'm all by myself. But with networking, to me, it's the relationships, because you're not out there all by yourself.
So you're developing relationships. Okay, Debbie, what do you actually expect out of networking?
I think that my expectation of networking changed from the time I began networking to build my business until now. The beginning part, my expectation from networking was about me and what I needed for my business, because anybody that starts a new business sets a goal for themselves, or it is set for them by their upline or their director, whoever. And then you think, oh my gosh, I gotta go out there and get these many people and so on and so forth. You're thinking about yourself and what you need for your bit to build your business. As I grew in the networking process, I realized that it couldn't be about me, because if it was about me, then it took the other person out of the equation. So once I shifted my thought process and my energy to the other person and what she needed, and thought about her expectations of my products and services or my skills or whatever, I increased my business tenfold, because I took the focus off of me and what I needed and put it on her. So for me, networking is about what Bonnie said, creating relationships to build the trust in a person, to build credibility for you as a person, because you know a lot of times people are going to choose your values as their basis for making a decision of purchasing your products. It's not your products or your services, it's who you are as a person that helps them make that decision. And once I did that shift, I felt like networking worked for me so much better.
We're going to come back to Rhonda and Linda, because I've got some other questions that I'm going to be asking. And so I'm going to come back to them, because I don't want the answer was you reap what you sow. That's going to be the answer. So with that, people who said that networking, like any, it said that they spend an average of 6.3 hours a week networking. And then those that said that, on the other hand, that said networking just didn't work for them, they spent under 2 hours a week networking. So basically, if you go to a GPS meeting once a week, once every other week, and you don't do anything else during the week, very honestly, you're treading water. You're not getting there. So I'm going to state what's obvious here. If you want more business through networking, then you're going to have to spend more time building relationships. friendships and loyalty and trust. And you know what? That's when business happens. Almost everyone agrees that networking is beneficial to building a business. But ever wonder, where do you start? Now you guys have all started, but that's, where do you start at? First thing out of the chute is decide what is a good fit for you and your business. Not all groups fit, all networking groups, it's not a one size fits all. Look at the benefits that the group has to offer. Consider what they require their members, and then know what cost is involved. Are there any hidden costs? Like, do you have to have breakfast? Do you have to have a lunch? Do you leave tips? Those are costs involved, so you need to look at all the costs. Do you have to pay for parking? All the things that's involved, and how far do you have to travel? So those things are all things that you need to kind of look at. And make sure you know what's expected of you. Because if you're going to be successful, you've got to know what is expected of you and what you're going to have to be doing. I said it earlier, and you're going to hear me say it again and again and again. Networking is not a quick fix. It is a long-term game, and rewards only come after you have invested time to get to know people. Now, how do you know which networking group's right for you? I suspect several of you have gone to other networking groups. Well, there isn't a right or wrong answer here, but it most likely will be a combination of different things. If you're new to networking, you might want to try the different types of networking groups if you have not tried any of the others. If your category is open in the GPS chapter, I suggest you even go visit another chapter. Because you know what? In GPS, the principles are the same. Everything is the same except one thing. The personalities of the people that are in that chapter. I just caution everyone, though, about one thing. Don't join every group in town. You get what I call the networkers burnout. And then you don't do any of them well. So select one or two and then focus on those until you decide what you can handle and what you can do well and what you can give to that group. There's really three basic types of networking groups: specialized networking, hard networking, and soft networking. Now, what makes it really confusing? There are hundreds of clones and variations of each one of those little groups, and we aren't going to go through them all. But specialized networking is based on educational or classes or seminars. Similar kinds of businesses attend meetings or classes about their type of business, usually, or something, or wanting to learn something, but they're all the same kind of, in that same grouping. Example, in the print shop business, we met with other printing owners, and they had classes on products that you could use. But the real focus of that class, of what we really got out of it, was meeting the other people in there and building a network or a strong group to learn from one another and to know who to call on when we had problems or issues or things happening. We knew who to call upon and who not to. So, GPS seminars, they're kind of a specialized networking group. So to kind of give you the differences. They get overlooked a lot, but they can be very, very effective in building some strong support groups among your peers. Now, this hard networking group, that's a very fascinating group. How many of you just heard the initials like BNI, BRE? Those are the two most familiar ones. These groups and many of their clones usually have some fairly stringent requirements to be a member. They usually meet weekly. Members are expected to attend all meetings. That's somewhere around 50 to 52 meetings a year. And the idea behind this type of networking is through referrals, you build your business. Membership is by invitation only. You join, one has to be approved by the membership committee and sponsored by a member of that chapter. References are required and checked. Our networking groups usually meet very early in the morning, and it's often referred to as that ungodly hour of the day. That's what I hear people call it. Closed groups, that mean one person per industry. So if you were in insurance, that would be the only category for insurance. The other group there is, you're actually required to give referrals. They have to be qualified referrals. And you have to give one, you have to be able to, someone has to be able to give you one. Now, I found the cost pretty high. Some of you may not think so. The one I was invited to was around $1,000 a year. Plus they had a breakfast charge of $12 a meeting. I don't think I've ever eaten $12 worth of food for breakfast, but you know, some people might think that wasn't a problem. These groups usually have a membership committee who actually investigates if someone is not satisfied with your work or your product or something like that, and that committee makes the decision as to who's right or wrong. Guests are welcome, but you have to be pre-screened. You do receive a membership kit in most of these, and that kit includes a CD and a book about networking and the assortment of little things. But the chapter that I was invited to, along with that breakfast thing, was going to be well over $2,000 a year. But you know, out of all this, the biggest objection that I ever heard to those kind of networking group, that ungodly hour of the day that they meet. That seemed to be the big problem. The next thing I get asked is, does this type of networking actually work? Well, it can. It depends upon you. If you don't mind getting up early, and you don't mind lots of cold calls, and you're willing to make the commitment to attend those weekly meetings, because they do make note if you're not there. Resources to come up with referrals every week. You can easily explain what you do because you'll no longer be able to talk to other people about it. They're going to be talking to people for you. And does the fee requirement involved, is that acceptable to you? Now, soft networking, that's the category that most networking falls into, with a little overlapping from some of the others. It's a combination of different points of things that are going on. MidFirst Bank, as an example, is a sponsor of GPS, and they have an event once a month for their business people. It's basically a business card exchange with some stipulations or a few rules. The local chamber of commerce, that's another example of soft networking. Most chambers offer lunches once a month and a business card exchange once a month after hours for business people. Now, we didn't have networking groups back, per se, back in the 80s, so we joined the local chamber. And we became active members. Now, you notice I used a word there, the word active. It doesn't do any good to join any organization whatsoever and then not be an active member. Your name in a directory doesn't do you nearly as much good on your behalf as if they're looking in that directory, not to see who you are, but just to get your telephone number. Now, the chambers they held a ribbon cutting for us, which was wonderful because that let people know that the old was gone and the new was here. The new gals were in town and ready for business. GPS offers a ribbon cutting for its members that has a new business. There's no charge for that. Now, we did attend every single chamber meeting. Between my daughter and I, we didn't miss a meeting. We participated in fundraising events. And we became board members. Why? With these things came recognition, came relationships, and we then business. Now, power partners. Now, that's some more of those words that's been added to the dictionary or to the vocabulary. Partners is when business people team up. They work together to build independent businesses. But the key is they work together, they complement one another. An example of a power partner might be if I owned a real estate company, I might work with a mortgage broker. And I work pretty well exclusively with this mortgage broker because they would try to get my loans through better, faster and stay on top of it, keep the glitches from happening so that I could get that sale completed. So I would be taking business to him and he would be trying to help me. But it works in reverse too. Because these days a lot of folks go get pre-qualified for their house. So they've already approved for a loan. So now they just need that person to come refer them back to me to sell them the house. Power partners, working together to benefit both businesses. Now the print shop, it sells invitations, right? So we teamed up with a photographer, we teamed up with a bridal shop, a flower shop, and we would refer business to them and they would refer business back to us. In the meantime though, you know what? We were working together to build independent businesses, but we did it and we developed friendships that we never expected. So power partners can be a good tool to use. Does any of you have a power partner that you work with today in the audience? Anybody have a power partner?
I work with, Tina, who is my new co-leader, they do wealth management and they have their client base is working with women in their 50s, and so we team up and do workshops together where I talk about kind of the inner work and coachy stuff, and she talks to them about retirement and wealth, so we work together.
Working together, complementing each other, building your individual businesses.
Yeah.
Power partners, as I said, can be great business builders. Hosting events, you can host an event even if you don't have a building per se. And basically, that could be qualified as hosting an event.
Yeah.
It gets people through the door or gets people to come to you and you build a recognition. Events, mixer, business card exchanges all offer networking opportunities. Starting from the moment that you arrive at that event and up until that minute that you go home. Follow up, it's very, very important. It doesn't matter what type of event you've been to or what is going on, you need to follow up without a sales pitch. You want people to remember you, not avoid you. In our business, we found that attending events was really very helpful. It didn't happen overnight, but we found that the more involved we became involved in the community, the more we became involved, the more our business grew. It became about them, not us. And you know what? That's GPS's motto, okay? Give first, share always. Door prizes, well now they can become an important part of your networking. They don't have to be expensive. The key to this type of networking is from an old word, branding. And we have what I call probably the very best person that I know in the whole wide world for this. If I say as an example though, Golden Arches, who do you visualize? McDonald's. During the Christmas time, when I hear a certain jingle bell sound, and the music behind it, I immediately look up because I know I'm going to see those big, beautiful Clydesdales. Here comes the Clydesdale with their beautiful harnesses and pulling that big sleigh. So it triggers that immediately. Audience, just out of the top of your mind here, can you think of a company that you see or hear that just immediately you know who it is without even looking up? Anybody name one, think of some? You'll think of them later if you don't.
Yeah, no, there's all over.
Oh, you hear the bell for Taco Bell? You hear that clang of the bell?
When you
It's
said
in
the
line.
bells jingling at Christmas, I immediately thought Salvation Army ringing the bells.
Mhm.
See, it's branding. It's over and over again. If done correct, if done right, branding can be a wonderful tool for you. Using the same logo, the same colors, the same sound, the same everything helps to identify you. You know, it should be planned out. The key is consistency. Shirts, cards, name tags, business cards, everything should be branded and identify you. Sure, a lot of you use your GPS shirts, you know, that brands you. But if you want to do your business, follow through with a color. Decide what color it is. Mary Kay's a really good example. If I say pink, you know, and you know immediately, you think Mary Kay, don't you? So they did a wonderful job of branding. Door prizes, as I said, can be a wonderful networking tool. In our business, it was easy. Printing, you give printing. And then you can follow up with a thank you and come back in to see us type thing. Certainly more of a challenge if it's something that's related. If you have a business, Rhonda doesn't hand out gold for her gold business. You know, if you'd like to, but you know. But you need to be able to have be identified. A real estate agent that I know gives Diamondback tickets. Well, I happen to like to go to the Diamondback tickets, so when I win, I don't know what company Paulette works for, but I can tell you she's a real estate agent. So if I need a real estate agent, what do I think of? It doesn't matter what the name of her company is, I think Paulette. One of our GPS members that I know always participates in every single drawing of any kind, whether it's our meeting, whether it's a GPS mixer, and she includes a branded business card and a sale catalog, and she always gives the same useful type of product. So one day I said to her, why do you do that? You know, every single one. And I loved her answer, and she happens to be in the audience today, and so I thought I'd let her give the answer. Bonnie, why do you participate in every single drawing?
Because every time they pick that item up, they think of me. So I will always be just one touch away from them.
And the one thing she said that I loved, and I just loved, and at least one person will know I was at that meeting. The person who won her door prize. There's an old saying that's really, really a networking truth. Out of sight, out of mind. When you don't see people at meetings, you're not at a meeting, you miss the next meeting, somebody might say, well, where's so-and-so? But at the next meeting, they probably won't even bother to ask, because you see, that's probably at least 2 weeks or a month later. A lot happens during that time. So when people don't see you, or you stay off to yourself, you know, you're just going to become lost in the shadows. It's a fine line in networking. Don't be a stalker where everybody wants to steer clear of you, or be out there and where you're out inside where people recognize you. Hundreds of social networking groups have actually popped up in the last few years. Social networking was born in 1971, and I found this absolutely fascinating.
And it's hard to believe.
Two computers were sitting right next to each other, same room, and they were sitting right next to it. And the message sent and received said, "Wobblygook." That's the best I could help itself when I'm doing an agenda for GPS, and all of a sudden this word like "wobblygook" pops up. It's in its genes. So now I understand it just a little bit. But seriously, social networking is going to be the wave of the future. It can be very beneficial, but what I see happening is otherwise intelligent people, business people, spending way too many hours, too much energy, too much money developing one of these sites that might or might not be the one that they should be using in the first place. They end up with a site that looks like I did it, an amateur did it. The content is not right, there's grammatical errors in it. And they end up dropping the whole mess. So it's not successful for them. So I have a suggestion for social networking, and this is one that I really, really believe in. If you're going to do one, look at them. I happen to have a whole list of them here for you. One of our GPS members, Phyllis Strobel, had already made it up, and just like the other GPS ladies, shares, and she gave me a copy of it, and I made copies for you. It's got the different, I don't think I passed them out yet, but it's a whole packet. It's a packet. And so you look through them, and then you do what I would suggest. You go to an expert. GPS has experts in almost every field. Look in that directory. Go to the website. Find a social media person that's an expert. And then you do what you do best, run your business, and you go to them and get the expert to do the rest. They can help you decide what site is the best one, what the cost, what's going to be required of you, what you need out of that site. And because a lot of people do the site that's not even the right one for them. And so that is, but very honestly, in the future, you need to be looking at those websites. I know a lot of you are like me and you just don't even want, it's one more thing on your plate.
Yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be on your plate. It should be on somebody else's. That's where you should delegate. No one's an expert in everything. Forgive yourself. Don't try spending time that you don't have, energy that you don't want to be spending on something that's not productive to you, but look at them. It's amazing. I think I have a packet here that will explain it. This is only the top 60. There's hundreds of others.
Phyllis is a great resource, by the way, for all of us.
Oh, and she was so, I did call though, I had it at home, and I called her and asked her if I could use it again. And she said, of course, GPS girls, you betcha. There's more cost involved in the social, a lot of them take a lot of posting. They have to be posted on a regular basis, not once a month. They need to be posted on a regular basis, like every Tuesday or every Friday. It has to be the same day out of the week and everything. There's a lot involved in being successful in social networking. You provide the content, they provide they can even input it for you. Oh, and you can look good. Even I can look good doing it that way. We've been discussing what networking is, but let's take a look at what it's not. Unless you want to see the room part like the Red Sea when you walk in, don't try to sell your product or your services at the event that you're attending. Networking events are not designed to sell as a sales venue, and too many people don't understand that that is not what they're designed for. If you're seeking immediate sales, then you need to do booths, you need to do trade shows, you need to do lots of other things. But networking events, that's out. It's great to get business cards at these events, but use them in a warm, welcoming way. Don't be a stalker or a spammer. Don't expect it to be a big business boom. Networking takes time to develop. Did you develop that friendship with a friend of yours overnight? Or did it take time to develop that? You might have liked each other immediately, but it took time to develop that relationship. When I sold advertising, I think every business person in the whole wide world used to say, my best means of advertising is word of mouth advertising. Ever heard that one? Word of mouth advertising. Building trust, getting referrals, and then sales. You know, they don't understand that that's what networking is. Ever heard those things before? It's the ideal way to build business. Businesses have used it for years. I mean, back in the Ice Age when I was doing it, they did that. They got referrals from people. That's what word of mouth advertising is. Somebody refers somebody. Networking, not a quick fix. You've heard me say that before. But it's for those people that are in business for the long haul. So how do you get the most out of each, I've talked about what you didn't do at meetings, what you do, but how do you get the most out of a networking event? Be prepared. When someone says, what do you do? That's where you need to be prepared with a short, and I do mean short, introduction speech. It's one of the most difficult presentations to develop and to give, and it's probably one of the things that very few people are good at. Sometimes they're called elevator speeches, sometimes they're called elevator pitches, introductions, or commercials. Ever heard any of those words? Needs to cut right to the chase, and ideally, it's going to open up a conversation. That's what it's for. Best of all, once you get it perfected, there are lots of different ways that you can use it. You have about 30 seconds or 70 words to make an impression. And I always say, well, with that introduction speech that I give, interest me, or would the person just go to sleep? Too frequently, my answer is they'll go to sleep. It needs to clearly state what makes you unique, and it's not the same as everyone, and why you're different than everyone else. Give a unique reason why someone should do business with you. When you describe what would be a good referral for you, was that description so clear, so vivid, that it just popped in their mind somebody that they knew that would be perfect to introduce you to? Once perfected, those speeches you can forward to your family, your friends, and they can help spread the word about what you do because they'll be able to understand it. It's not a sales pitch, it's this is what I'm needing. And people like to help other people. You can even use it for when you're cold calling or leaving a message on your telephone, if it's the right 30 seconds. Then it's time to practice, practice, practice till you get it perfect. My speech is involved, and I gotta be honest with you, it's probably the hardest thing I ever did in my life. Right now, I started out with something like, I'm the person who helps you live a healthier life just by changing your water. You know, I'm not real impressed with my elevator speech. You know, it's something that I've been working on. It's really, I have a real hard time talking about myself. I really do. I can talk about everything else. And my husband will guarantee you I do. But you know, when it comes down to what do you do, then it seems like it's not so important. But people are interested, or they wouldn't say, so what do you do? The key thing when you're doing networking, because I guess, I was going to ask you, anybody got a elevator speech or a commercial they would be willing to give right here? Rhonda, would you mind giving?
Oh my goodness.
See what I'm telling you? You've got 30 seconds or 70 words to impress yourself. Because you know what? You'll probably impress us regardless, but Cindy,
Oh,
that
thank
you
you.
want to impress yourself. That's the person that's important.
Okay. My name is Rhonda. I am a mobile gold buyer with Gold Rush at Home. I've been doing this almost 5 years. Gold Rush at Home was started here locally by a woman in the valley. We have no storefront, so there's no overhead. And I use an electronic tester. You can see yourself what the carat weight of the gold is. No obligation. I'm happy to take stones out. And I do parties, fundraisers, and individual buys.
Under her 30 seconds,
Wow, very nice.
Very good.
very good. And Linda, now this is because you were new and you did this yesterday beautifully. I was gonna ask you if you'd mind doing yours again today. And that's hard because again, but when you walk into a room full of people, you gotta be prepared. And so what do you do?
Yeah, remember when I stopped? My eye was over and just stopped.
She ran a couple of seconds over and she froze.
Oh, the bell's over.
Don't sit afraid of the buzzer.
But the nice thing about your meetings, your normal meetings, they're practice time, ladies. These are people that care about you, and it's a good time to practice. And you see what the reaction is. And people encouraged you, didn't they? They laughed and said, go ahead and finish.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, my name is Linda Stone, and I was CCF Investments, and we are the endorsed local provider team for Dave Ramsey in the Phoenix area. And we help folks in all stages of their financial life, whether it's getting out of debt, getting rid of those student loans, building, reaching goals, retirement, paying off, and also Social Security timing. So I try to help with all aspects and change people's lives.
That's very good.
Now see, and I put her on the spot, and I knew, and I wanted to tell her earlier, and then I thought, no, then she's not going to enjoy the time she's here. She's going to be thinking, oh, when's she going to call me? And so I thought so I decided to try to be kind to you because I knew you're the professional you are, that you could handle it.
And she did.
And you did.
Keep that
And you did.
elevator door open.
When, people, I get asked all the time, they think that I'm a networking guru. No, I'm not. But how do you become one? Well, this is my advice. If I'm a networking guru, here's my advice. Relax and enjoy yourself. That's the first thing. Networking can be fun. It is fun. And most of the people you'll meet are great. Now, I didn't say everyone. I said most of the people you meet are great. But just be prepared with an interesting, short introduction. Maintain eye contact. You ever had anybody you're talking to and they're
Yes.
over here? You don't want to be that person. Showing interest in others, even if they're boring, act like you're interested. And you know what? You may find that's the most fascinating person that you've ever met in your life. Think about what they're saying so that you can ask thought-provoking questions or bring up a conversation. Be a good listener. That's all it amounts to. And when you're speaking to people, think, how can I help them or how could I add value to their business? People always remember the person who adds value. The bottom line, you need a repeatable elevator speech that convinces people they should choose you to do business with. What you say and how you say it presents your introduction is the key to your success. It's so important that on June the 13th, right here in this room, it's going to continue with, it's going to include, her time's going to include how to master, what is it called? I thought I wrote it down.
Is it public speaking next month?
It's going to
Become
include how to
effective
master
public.
this crucial part of networking. If you could only attend one meeting this whole series, I tell you that this next meeting is going to be a crucial part of your networking skills. So I would put it on my calendar right now. time to compare GPS to some of the other networking groups. I'm not going to name them, but I'm just going to name what GPS does because I was so impressed with what they did. But you see, I'm from the old school where the networking wasn't even a word. And I was doing some of those things. I just didn't know they were called networking. GPS offers these educational seminars to its members. They're absolutely dedicated on helping their business grow or helping your business grow. The Roadmap to Success series concluded last year and now the journey continues. GPS, you develop lasting and productive friendships and relationships. You get the encouragement and support of other members. There's even gal pals, which are basically ladies that volunteer to help other people in business to develop their business or just be a listening and sounding board. They offer twice a month meetings, events, mixers. Are there any other good networking groups out there? You bet there is. However, I do see GPS as the best of each one of those groups kind of vacuumed them out and took the best part and put them all, rolled them into one. To me, that's GPS. It continually offers new programs for its members. And you know, the launching of the new junior program is just an example of that. It's, when I was talking about those, Debbie has a heart for young women, this is for girls 14 to 19 that are starting to be the young, they'll be the business women of the future. This is a program designed for them. There's a free directory, access to the GPS website, and an expandable directory to advertise your business. There's annual events like the Expo and the beautiful gala that we had, and the banquet that was held last, honoring you, the women of GPS. Ribbon cuttings. GPS just gets better and better thanks to the GPS leadership team. So, what is networking? It's creating relationships, it's building trust, it's building lasting friendships, trust, referrals, business, and it can be fun, just as well as rewarding. And remember, you represent your business 365 days out of the year, not just 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You need to keep that in mind when you go to the store. You know, wear your business name tag. Be well groomed. Dress for success. I know you just ran up there to get a few potatoes, but ladies, you represent your business even in those few minutes.
Jeez, I am in trouble.
A good idea is to be unique. You know, a hat, a bag, something that will draw attention to you. Because when you're standing in line, you can do some networking just talking to those people in line. Attend every event that you possibly can. Remember, out of sight, out of mind. Talk to lots of people when you go to those events, not just your friend. Do you feel awkward when you walk into a room? Here's a tip that will work every single time, and nobody will even know that you did it. The first thing you do is you take a deep breath before you ever go in through that door. Just take a big, deep breath, then relax. Let that breath out and relax. Then you look for a small group of, say, 3 people. And you just go up and say, may I join you? No one's ever told me no. You know, if they do, I just say, okay, and I go somewhere else. Don't stay in a group, I call it overstaying. When you're in a group, excuse yourself and then go somewhere else so that you work the whole room before you leave. And in a GPS event, that could be a challenge because there'll be quite a few ladies there, lots of opportunities, so you need to be able to go around. But so cover the entire room before you leave and be a host. If you see some GPS or somebody that's maybe new and they're standing over there by themselves, and you know what they're feeling, that lonesome feeling, just go over and say the same thing, may I join you, and introduce yourself. No one has ever said no, and then take them with you. Say, you know, come over here, I want to introduce you to Linda. And say, Linda, Mary's new, would you mind taking her around to some of the other ladies before you leave, you know, and tell them she's new. Be sure to tell them she's new so that, and to ask them to introduce her. Please do that for me.
Sure. You're not gonna tell her
Your kindness will be long remembered. If you're interested in others, even if they're boring, there's always something interesting about everyone. You just have to dig a little for some folks. And be ready to do a favor. You know, helping someone out just simply means that they will be more likely to remember you, even recommending you. So what should you expect from networking? In our business, we discovered that the more we focus on other businesses, the more ours grew. And what you should get out of networking will totally, I mean totally, depend upon what you're willing to put into it. Bob Berg from Business Networking International says this about networking. Successful networkers not only receive referrals, but they feel happy about themselves, and they're the ones that put others' needs in front of their own. I have go to the next one, slide over. I truly am a believer in networking, and I have seen what it did. It took a business that had no way, I mean, it had no shot at all in being successful. The odds was 1,000% behind saying it was not going to be successful. It became successful. It wasn't luck. It was work. It was determination. It was what networking is. We used networking and it became successful. I am a believer in networking, and I guarantee you, you will be also. Yes, Debbie?
I think that what I learned from you today is something that Mary Kay always teaches us, and that is that the person across from you should be the most important person in the world. And they should you should pretend there's a sign on their forehead that says, "Make me feel important." I find that when I'm at events, especially something for GPS, I am so focused on the event, I forget to talk to the people. So I am going to pull myself down from the rafters and get more involved in just talking to people, and not so much about the event itself, because it's not near as important.
When you're involved with the event, it is extremely difficult to do that because you're so focused on the event to make it go smoothly that it's very easy to let your own networking skills slide, and then you don't get as much out of it for yourself, and that's what you're there to network as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to everyone who took time out of their schedule to be here today and listen to an old lady. And thanks to our cameraman, Jim Byrne, for his help and expertise in this event. And Jim, I do appreciate and thank you for trying to meet my request of making an old lady look young. I did request it. However, I have to tell you, I think it was too much of a challenge. You know, Debbie, can I ask you to come up here by me for just a minute?
Sure. We're on that old lady looking young lens right now.
Debbie, did you know that roses have been known for the world over for their simple beauty? Are you aware of that?
I didn't know that.
And the color of the rose has long been associated with a special meaning. Example, the yellow rose. That one's a favorite because it has an optimistic character that makes it complete and is a traditional symbol of warm feelings, enduring friendships, and optimism. And the yellow rose represents joy. It represents wisdom and power. Therefore, it seemed only appropriate that I present you this yellow rose. Actually, this is a real rose. It's been dipped in 24 karat gold, so it will be a lasting reminder to you for sharing your vision with women of all ages. And Debbie, here this is for you. I left it in the box, but we do have
Show it
this,
for everyone to see.
we do have this little vase for it to go in.
Oh, geez,
Oh,
maybe I got tissue.
Beautiful.
I know.
You know, it only seemed appropriate that the yellow rose fit you, and as I said, thank you for sharing your memories and your vision with women of all ages. You know, and from this oldster here, thanks for laughing with me.
There goes your rose.